Good afternoon. This is Alfred here. I'm at work working on this. This is a 2019 530i G30 body style. That's the engineering code on this. Just want to point out a few things. This is a 2019, so it's about 3.5, 4 years old, and it's got a top-off coolant malfunction. Customer towed it in to the dealership because it was leaking some coolant, and so far I'm digging into it, and I already know what's going on, but I just wanted to point something out that me and my fellow technicians are seeing on these vehicles. I'm gonna kind of just set this to the side here. Try to pressure test the cooling system. So I got my coolant pressure coolant pressure connected. All right, I'm pressure testing the cooling system, and it's not building any pressure. So pretty much you can hear coolant seeping out at the bottom, and where it's leaking from is this oil filter housing back over here. You can kind of see a little bit of coolant squishing out there from the bottom. Another thing we got going on is this water pump. Let's see, the mechanical belt driven water pump, it's got some coolant residue right there where it's starting to leak. And another thing that that I'm also noticing, and a few other guys are noticing, is that this turbo coolant return hose, when they get hot, they start seeping out a little bit of coolant right here, and those right there are also problematic too. And you got to replace the whole coolant return line from the turbocharger around here. Is down over there, and that line comes around here and goes to this auxiliary coolant pump for the turbocharger that circulates coolant through the engine. So I'm gonna get some more video down below of how bad that coolant leak is from that oil filter housing. All right, this is the underside of the vehicle. So this right here is the area where the oil filter housing is leaking down. It's a little tricky to see, but basically it's leaking in this area right here and coming down. So coolant is basically leaking all the way down here and dropping in the bucket there. So next step is I'm going to replace this oil filter housing. And you can barely see where it's leaking down, but it's not holding any pressure. Once it's pressure tested, it's not holding any pressure. All that pressure just immediately just leaks out because it's not completely sealed. All right, I'm moving on to the next step here. I'm about to proceed to replace this oil filter housing. I got both of these batteries disconnected because this vehicle has two, one in the trunk and one right here up in the front. And these are the parts I'm about to put on. Alrighty, so this is the new oil filter housing, and I gotta swap over the cooler or the heat exchanger, whatever they want to call it. Gotta swap that over to here from the old unit. New coolant outlet, intake, and throttle body gaskets. Alrighty, I'm over here at the oil filter housing, so I'm about to prepare to take this out next. It's kind of buried down in there. Got a couple brackets in that harness. This that wire harness. I guess it's like a kind of like a bulkhead, or it's like a sensor. It's basically, it's a bolt that attaches it to the engine block, and it's like a box with all the sensors for the engine temperature, and just vary like oil pressure and things like that. So got to get that out next. I'm gonna also have to replace this coolant vent hose that goes from the expansion tank over to the cylinder head, because basically while I was taking the intake off, just light pressure, this thing just snapped. So this thing had to have gotten a little hot for these hoses to you know, just snap like that. So there were no overheat faults in the vehicle when I scanned it, so we're just gonna go from there. Replace this as consequential damage. All right, I'm about to get this bad boy out of here. I did have to remove this bracket right here, but this harness, I did not have to move that because I can get to that bottom bolt down over there, down over here. So I just gotta get a tool down over there, and I should be able to get him out. I'll get something over there. Not this, but hopefully I can make this work. There we go. All right, it's that old filter housing right there, right here. So I'm gonna take this heat exchanger off, this oil cooler, take it off of there and swap it over to the new one. These T30 screws, about like, look like it's about 7 of them. So zip those off. Clean it up a little bit and swap them over. All right, I'm going back in with this bad boy. Got the oil filter housing mounted. Just finna snug it up with this 1/4-inch ratchet. Just gonna snug it up, and then I'm gonna torque it down to 8 Newton meters. So I figured it would have been 10 or something, but looking at the repair instructions, it's 8 Newton meters. Torque them on down and keep rolling. I just gotta, after this, I'm gonna mount this transmission cooler back over there and get that from down under the car. Then I'm gonna put the intake manifold back on. I'm gonna tighten this bolt at the very bottom from underneath the car. Then I'm gonna go up, tighten those other three, torque those down, and then I gotta come back and put this transmission cooler into place. Three bolts that hold this transmission cooler on. One goes through that hole right there, and the other two mount to, I believe, it's near the transmission by the side of the block right there. So I'll just get those started from now. All right, I got the oil filter housing wrapped up. And next up, about to replace this water pump. So this is what we got. Come in a little kit. Got the little vacuum adjuster for the little flow control pulley. Got some bolts right there. Then we got the good old handy water pump. That's it. So we're gonna put that in. Get this thing back running. Yep, put it up. Yep. All right, I got the vehicle back together here. I'm gonna vacuum fill the coolant system. So right now I got it under vacuum. It's been over 2 minutes. So I know that I don't have any leaks in the system because it's holding vacuum. I'm gonna do an oil and filter change. That's gonna prevent or eliminate the possibility of oil contamination. The new oil filter housing comes with a filter. So it's got a new filter in there, but I am gonna put some oil down in the housing as I'm filling up the engine oil. So, and I'm gonna prime this engine for about 30 seconds so that the oil flow circulates. So basically what I'm gonna do is pull the basically what I can do a couple things. I can pull the ignition circuit at the DME or just pull the fuse. But I'm at least gonna prime it for 30 seconds to make sure that the oil is circulating properly throughout the engine before I start it. All right, I'm about to prime this engine real quick. So what that means is I'm not gonna start to let it run on its own. I got the ignition coils unplugged and the fuel and the low pressure fuel line before the high pressure pump blocked off. So I'm just gonna let it spin over a few times just to get that oil circulating through the engine real good. So I decided versus disconnecting this connection right here at the engine computer that I just was gonna disconnect the ignition coils. So that's what I did. I'm about to plug these back in and it's gonna be ready to run. Put my little cover back on the DME there. It's in there. We're gonna see what we got. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right, this guy's back together and running. All right, I'm about to take this bad boy for a spin. Test drive it, make sure everything's going good. But yeah, this is a 2019 5 Series G30 body style. This customer keeps this one pretty clean. I mean, it's got these nice sport seats in here. Got a pretty nice interior, but it's been detailed up and kept pretty clean. After I get done working on it, it's gonna get detailed again while it's here. I'm gonna take it for a test drive, put about 5 miles on it, put a little, do some city and highway driving. It's like a little 5-mile loop that I normally take, put it on the highway for a little bit, and then some surface streets, and make sure the engine's getting up to operating temperature real good, and make sure the heat work, the AC work, all of that stuff, and then it's gonna be all ready for the customer to pick up. All right, I'm test driving this thing. So far, it's running pretty good. I mentioned a second ago that checking to make sure that the heat and the AC is working properly. The reason for that is because when you have coolant issues and things like that, if you have a problem, like a more serious problem, like a cylinder head gasket, or if it's something, a blockage in the cooling system, those are one of the first things that's not going to work. Like, your heat is not going to work properly. And this vehicle right here is engineered in a certain way. It's engineered, the cooling system is very advanced. It has a high temp and a low temp cooling system. So the low temp cooling system goes through the intercooler and the AC condenser work together. So if there's an issue with that cooling system, then the AC will not cool properly. So that's pretty much the purpose of, making sure that the AC and the heat work, especially when doing, the heat is the most concern, but on this particular vehicle, the AC too, because I did have to drain the low temp cooling system when removing the intake. So that low temp system is connected, so I did have to top off that coolant in there. So that's why that's important. So that's about it. Thank you guys for checking out the video. If you like it, if you like the content, like the video, subscribe to my channel. My name is Alfred, and this is Cool Fred's Beamer Tech. So thanks for watching.